Hi, it's Ritch Esra from MUBUTV. We're coming to you live from Muse Expo this year in Hollywood at the Roosevelt Hotel. I'm happy to have with us Mark Muggeridge from Indie Music Management. Mark, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Mark, when we spoke yesterday, you were speaking about the time element that it takes to develop an artist from the ground up just to get them to a place where they can be signed as about a 2 or 3 year process. Can you talk about that?
Well, it's very different. The first thing that you have to do as a manager is you have to look at the act in front of you and say, what kind of act is this? What's going to work for the artist? Where am I going to place them in the market? What market am I going to place them in? All of that sort of thing. Now, certainly I have worked with acts where you could take the act, take them straight to a major label, you'll attach songwriters and producers and all of that sort of thing, and it can happen really quite quickly. But it has to be the right kind of act and it has to be the right thing for the act. With a lot of the indie artists that I work with, we're really looking at a 2 or even a 3 year development period. So interestingly, I saw a great act last night at one of the Muse Expo showcases, a young guy called Daniel. Now he is an act that he is going to break out of live. He's going to break out of live touring. He's not really a hit chart radio act. He's not going to play in the top 10 of, he's not going to get hundreds of radio spins straight away. He's an act that you're going to tour and tour and tour, and you're going to play him in lots of little cool indie clubs. He's going to get a huge underground following, and in about 2 years' time, he's going to have 50,000 fans on Facebook. He's going to be selling 10,000 units a week off his own artist label, and then it's going to break and everyone's going to say, wow, where did he come from? This is an overnight sensation. But they won't realize that that overnight took 2 or 3 years to happen.
So can you take us through what that process is?
Okay, if I have an artist that is coming to me and they are absolutely brand new, then the very first thing that I'm doing is I'm getting all of their online presence organized. I'm getting all of those points at which a music fan will contact the connect with the artist. I'm getting all of that organized. I'm getting the music organized, picking the tracks that we're going to start by taking to the market first. We'll generally, I like to do a single, an EP, a single, an EP, that kind of thing with a new artist, because we work very much in a digital world now and it's a singles market. And the first thing that I want to do over the first probably 6 months is start to organize connecting with the fans. Then once I've got the live act sorted out and I've got the recordings started to be sorted out, we know the direction that we're all going in, and we've got a fan base, probably a local fan base, and we're building that out, and on each campaign we're building and building and building. Then my next stage, I guess, is what I would call promoting the act to the music business. So then I'm starting to take tracks to radio, and I'm starting to introduce this artist to radio producers. I'm starting to bring this artist to the attention of live agents and say, you know, we're selling out 150, 200, 300 cap venues. It's starting to get too busy. I need an agent to come on board and help me organize the book. And I could take 3 tracks to radio before we start to get spins, because for a radio producer, they've got to think about their audience. They don't want to play a new artist to their audience that their audience don't know. People listen to radio because they want to hear their favorite songs. So I need to convince the radio community that this artist is going to have continuity of material, that the quality of material over a period of time is going to be consistent, all of that sort of thing. So I'm really starting to then build the team around the artist that's going to work with us. The agent, perhaps a smaller label, perhaps the online press, or all of that sort of thing. And then that whole process could take 12 months, quite realistically. And of course, during that period, we're still growing the fan base, growing the fan base, growing the fan base. And then the next process, probably, you could be 2 years in by now, then you're starting to really push out and try and flip the act from this is an act that everybody in the industry is talking about to this is an act we're now going to flip over into mainstream audience awareness, and we're starting to look to get playlist at radio, we're starting to look to get national press, all of that sort of thing. Because in truth, the vast audience out there are a mainstream audience. They're not looking on the blogs for new music. They're listening to radio at work. They want to hear what they know. They want to hear what's familiar. They want to buy the new album by an artist that they already like, all of that sort of stuff. So 2 years in kind of theory, flipping them over into mainstream awareness, I need to have a lot of pressure in the campaign, a lot of people on board, and you're really working with teams and going, this is working, that's great, let's feed off that. This isn't working, has anyone got the ideas how we can make that, you know, the A plan isn't working, what's the B plan, what's the C plan? You've always got to have, you know, a number of options that you're going to. And my job within all of that as a manager is to keep the artist informed, create opportunities, give everybody options to work with, and also, quite importantly, to keep everybody on that growing team aware of what direction are we going in and what's happening. The live agent needs to know what's happening at radio, the radio people need to know what's happening in the press people need to know what's happening with our live booking and all of that sort of stuff. So I'm kind of a conduit of information, and I'm setting the direction and saying, this is the way we want to go, let's keep going.
Mark, how important are the recordings versus the live show, or does it depend on the act?
Yes, I would certainly be working on the recordings and working out what is, for me, the recorded music is still, I mean, it's live and recorded music, they're two sides of the same coin.
Right.
So I'm trying to work out, where am I going to put this in the market? What can I do to make the recorded product the best that it can possibly be? But this is an artist that would, for instance, be quite specialist radio. He's going to play in particular places. He's going to play in specialist radio shows and things like that. So I'm not going to get a big mainstream push for this artist. But the thing about this particular artist is he is a star. He's just this star waiting to be discovered. When you stand in a room with him and see him on stage, you just go, wow, this guy's amazing, and you fall in love with him. So with an artist like that, my strategy is tour and tour and tour and tour him, play him in all of the little cool underground places where an audience can get up close and see him and experience him and meet him, and build and build and build and build and build my audience, and do it all direct, straight to the fans. And I'm still taking stuff to radio, but I know that it's a slow burn. It's a long, slow burn.
It's like you're planting a lot of seeds.
Yeah, it's not like I met an artist here yesterday who's a great pop top-line artist. He does this kind of cool, sort of white soul type thing, what we call suburban soul in the UK. It's kind of funky, got a funky undertone, all that sort of stuff. Great, an artist like that, I'm going to focus much more on the recorded product, take him straight to the label, say, great, let's cash flow this, and let's find the hit songwriters for him to co-write with, and top line, great producers for him to top line, and let's build the recorded product and let that go out across radio with a big with a big label promotions team, pushing it at radio, pushing it into the press, all of that sort of stuff. And in the meantime, while the label is doing that, I'm going to be going off and working with someone like Tom Jackson in Nashville to get the show a spectacle. Because with like a big radio act like that, that is ultimately going to be like a Rihanna or a Lady Gaga, you want a spectacular show. This guy's going to be the next Justin Timberlake, so you need a great show. So yeah.
So it's more of a top 40 thing.
And it's that thing about looking at the artist and going, what sort of artist is this? There's no one route to market. There's no one right way. Even if you've decided, is this a mainstream artist? Is this an underground artist? Whatever it is, there's still no one way to bring that artist to market.
Finally, Mark, what's the number one thing that fans, above all else, want from an artist besides their music?
I say to the artist, when I post that up and people have seen the video and they're reacting to it, then that's where you jump in and you go, hey, thanks, man. Thanks for saying that was really nice. Can't wait to meet you at a show, all of that sort of stuff. The fans, this is nothing new. Fans have always written to artists. It's just that they used to send a letter through the post, now they jump on Facebook. And the fans want to be able to interconnect with the artist, and the artists want to be able to interconnect with the fan. We as the music business have to work out how we help the artists to do that so they're not overcome by all of that. And then, very importantly, I always make sure that there are opportunities for the artists to meet the fans and the fans to meet the artists and all of that sort of stuff. And certainly the artists that are doing really, really well today are the ones who take time to interact with their fans.